other words, to put a U.S. puppet regime into power in Tehran with this green revolution of Mousavi and Rafsanjani. And as far as I can see, this has failed. And therefore, the U.S. and the British are reversing their field and going back to the more Bush neocon policy, but with a regional aspect to it, which is new. I would say that the danger of false flag now, especially targeting Iran, is very high. It had been low for about 2 years, but I think now it's rising rapidly, and everybody has to take this very seriously. The goal of this conference that's going on in Washington right now is to fashion a cloak of credibility for a worldwide effort to gang up on Iran, and especially to create a kind of anti-Iranian front in the Middle East. And this is also the diplomacy vis-a-vis Netanyahu. It is that Obama wants to create, and his handlers above all, an alliance of countries that would be Arab and Sunni against the Iranians, who are, of course, Persians and Shiites. So the idea is to assemble Saudi Arabia, the Gulf states, right, the Gulf Cooperation Council, try to peel off Jordan, try to peel off Syria, try to get other countries. And I think that's essentially what's going on in Washington. What you have in Washington right now looks very much like the League of the Democracies that was talked about in the election campaign. Most notable is who is not here. Iran is not here. North Korea is not here. Syria not here. Venezuela not here. Bolivia not here. How about Niger? Right? Remember the famous Niger yellow cake memorandum in the Valerie Plame saga, right? All during the Bush administration. Well, Niger, big producer of yellow cake uranium, would be key for any kind of anti-nuclear strategy. Niger,
and you're in D.C. What's the overall mood? I mean, it seems they're now going into desperation. They forced through the health care, but now people are finding out at lower standard of care and is a big payoff to the banks and insurance companies.
Well, this thing with Obama is largely it's a photo opportunity, and again, you can say, well, you've got a lot of people are here, right? The countries that are here, Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, those are countries that they'd like to lure into this anti-Iranian front. You've got who of China is here. With China, they're trying to get China to go along with sanctions against Iran. And there are lots and lots of press reports saying, oh, the Chinese are going to approve sanctions against Iran. There is no sign of this whatsoever.
But how big of a defeat is it that Netanyahu wouldn't come because he knew that Egypt and Turkey were going to go, okay, we'll put sanctions on Iran when there's no evidence they have a weapons program, but we know you've got nukes. Let's talk about that.
Well, of course, the Israelis have 400 or 500 or 600 nuclear weapons. They probably have thermonuclear weapons. They probably have hydrogen bombs. The Israelis, of course, are here. Just Netanyahu is not here. I think the guy is Meridor is the Israeli delegate. Israel, in order to assemble this front of Arabs and Sunnis against the Iranian Shiites, Israel is expected to make concessions that will calm down the question with the Palestinians. In other words, Obama's line to Netanyahu is, you should basically patch things up with the Palestinians, and now let's go on then to deal with your real problem, which is Iran. In other words, your little problem is the Palestinians. Do something to cool
But Israel's saying they're going to continue the settlements. They're saying they're going to continue, but we only have a few minutes left here, Webster. Let's go back to the main issue at hand. Obama's main talking point and main statement at the center of this photo op is the #1 threat is Al-Qaeda. They work with Iran, and they're going to nuke us any minute. How would you see a false flag nuke deployed?
Well, in any number of ways. Look at Biden. Biden has said in the past week that nuclear war is more likely now than ever before in history because of the probability of non-state actors getting nuclear devices. And Obama is talking not just nuclear terrorism in general, but Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda, Al-Qaeda. He's channeling Bush and Cheney once again. So, let your imagination run wild. The main thing is, if any nuclear device goes off anywhere in the world, don't think Iran, think false flag, done by the people who are going to benefit from this. Notice that the other thing that's going going on is you've got the whole echelon crew, right? The British, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, they're all here. The main Europeans are here, right? France, Italy, Germany. So it's the League of Democracies. It's the group of sort of pro-U.S. diehards, or people who are willing to talk at least. I would say it's the League of Democracies plus the 5 permanent members of the UN.
But I think the message is, the script Obama and the Anglo-Americans are putting out is, we're going to stage a false flag. I mean, all these politicians understand the real message. We're going to stage a false flag. We're gearing up for Iraq too, but on a bigger scale with Iran.
Yes, and that can probably be now a question of months. Obviously, the thing to do is take a look at the calendar. Look at the time of the new moon, right? If wars are going to begin in the Middle East, you've got to find a time when there's no moon, because the stealth bombers and the cruise missiles are visible at night. So if there's a bright full moon, that's not going to be then. It's going to be sometime dark, and if it's going to be in the springtime, it's going to have to be according to that calendar. So work with that, and I would urge everybody to be on a special alert. There was, again, the whole period of 2008, 2009, when this color revolution in Iran was being ginned up, the chances were low. But now the chances are high. And, of course, the Iranians know this. They're going to have their own counter-conference within a few days. In other words, they're going to have their own conference addressing some of these same issues, trying to put the onus on the U.S. And, indeed, Ahmadinejad has now turned to Ban Ki-moon of the United Nations and demanded, finally, the independent, impartial investigation of 9/11, which is a very interesting initiative by Ahmadinejad.
All right, very interesting times indeed. Webster has 4 books published. We sell them all, on the economy, on the unauthorized biography of Obama. It's all available at Infowars.com, and your purchase of this informative books and materials supports Webster and us. Webster, thanks for spending time with us.
Thank you, Alex.
All right, we'll be back. I'm going to get into a whole bunch of other important issues, other false flags where we've caught them.
For the first time ever, the secret agenda of the planet's ruthless superclass is exposed in stark detail.
You know, there is such a thing as insidious influence. Does it involve some sort of psychological domination?
No world order that elevates one nation or group of people over another will succeed. It's a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
So it's going to be an inner ruling elite and then everyone else. And I got news for you. You're everyone else.
The whole concept of New World Order, it really says that the state is God.
They created in all of the British dependencies what they call roundtable groups.
At a higher level of COG government, where the constitutional authorities are not allowed to go.
The New World Order really is a tool for addressing a new world of possibilities.
The people running this country are determined to destroy it.